Why, hello there. Hey, what's going on? I'm Scott. This is alongside Mr. Davion Boosie, and hiding out already in pre-Halloween gear is Mr. Ryan O'Regan. And this is Tales from the Film Set on Zingo TV channel 249 and 250. Kindly make sure to download the Zingo TV app on the app stores of iOS and Android. Lastly, when you download the app is free, and feel free to leave a comment. And Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and all smart TVs 2016 and forward. Gentlemen, it is Halloween. Ironically enough, anniversary, believe it or not, today, I didn't even mention this, but today in 1978 was the premiere of the first Halloween movie, launching the career of a borderline then unknown Jamie Lee Curtis, who was not the first choice to be Laurie Strode. And also, as it turns out, interestingly enough, the role of Sam Loomis could have actually been Christopher Lee or Peter Cushing, who both turned it down. Fun fact to pick up today. Check it out on the shorts part of the channel. So anyway, how you guys doing?
I'm doing good. And Ryan, why do you have that mask on?
Because after I've been working at a haunted house for like the past month, this is the closest I have to actually working on a costume.
Okay.
If
So,
I would have
a
known,
bit
I would have
busy.
worn my mask.
Is this like a really bad like cosplay version of like Bane or something?
This is, I'm calling it bootleg anything. You know, whatever you think it is, it's that.
It's that. Okay. So basically it's Tommy Wiseau. He's doing Hamlet in this case, his version of Hamlet.
Well, it's bad enough that you had me cover up because of what my shirt says. So
Okay.
I have to go
You know, like
yuppie
you said,
here.
we're minority owned by like Disney in this case, which is ironic because we're going to be kind of like trashing on Disney for some of the decisions they made. But irrespective of that, you do have the word poo hole, you know,
Yeah.
or we'll call it donkey hole on your shirt.
Can we say
Not
butthole?
to mention, this mask is like one of few that will
It's like
actually fit over my glasses.
It's a nice mask too.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the
Pink
problem.
hole.
The glasses pinch a lot of times too. That really sucks.
Yeah. That's
After a
why I
few
wear
hours.
that's why I wear contacts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so instead of wearing this green yuppie robe looking like I'm a, very, very poor
Something out of
member
an
of the
old Navy
Scouts
ad or something like
from
that, you know?
Back on Titan.
Get contacts. Contacts work.
No, I will not.
I got my contact in. So, all right. Anyway, we got a bunch of stuff we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about some horror films, some of which you've seen, maybe a couple that you have not seen. I got a couple on that list as well. Ryan, I know you've been going to town on basically horror films as well. But first,
Don't get me started on Halloween. Nope.
Oh, yeah. It wouldn't be Halloween without that. However, we have to talk about this first. We're going to get to this one because this is a pretty damn big deal.
Big announcement.
Big announcement in the DC world because James Gunn and Peter Sack co-running the DC animation studio. So this
Wait, animation studio? I thought it was
No,
the
just
whole,
DC Films.
just
DC Films and the animation studio. Yes, both of them.
Right.
Oh.
Well, that's the thing. DC Animation is under DC Films. So anything DC oriented, James Gunn and Saffron are going to be the Kevin Feige's, basically.
But Kevin Feige with an R-rated twist.
I knew it. I had a dream that that James Gunn was going to do something amongst the DC universe, but I didn't know it was going to be this. I was thinking somebody else.
To be fair, I think after his successes, both critically and financially, as far as HBO Max is concerned, I can't imagine that the new owner-operators with the Discovery Plus merger would have gone in any other direction. Because they've had a lot of people that have been part of DC Comics trying to like work and do what they can, and it just hasn't worked. So yeah, you go with the one person who's had success in your franchise. Lead the pack if you have to.
Yeah, I mean between the Suicide Squad, which both of those guys worked on together on the Suicide Squad film from last year. Also, the upcoming Aquaman film. Obviously, we talked about Peacemaker and how unexpectedly phenomenal, I think is the way I would put that. It's a big, piss off to Disney in this case, because don't forget, Disney washed their hands and turned their backs on him after he was canceled from a tweet like a dozen years ago, which he had apologized for even before all this came to the surface. So this is a weird case of cancel culture actually shooting Disney in the face.
Well, I don't know if I would necessarily go that far because it's not like they have still been like, oh no, James Gunn, we can't do anything with you. They brought him back. They're doing the Christmas special for Guardians of the Galaxy, which the
How long
trailer
did that take,
just
though?
dropped today for that, and it looks fun. Plus, we still have Guardians of the Galaxy 3 to finish off with. And mind you, we already know that that's going to be like the last of that version of the Guardians, which if that's going to be the, swan song of James Gunn in the MCU, then so be it. I think he's done enough in the MCU, and they have to keep on going further and further beyond and doing different things.
Yeah, go ahead, D. You're proudly showing that right now. Go for it, sir.
No, let him promote for himself now.
All I'm saying is, James Gunn, since you're the Kevin Feige of the DC universe, can we don't block his name out, have a Red Hood film? Please.
Wow.
And I will do anything just to be Red Hood.
Technically, James Gunn already did a Red Hood film. It was called Brightburn.
Yeah, but not a true Red Hood.
That's not Red
Hood. It was red enough. It looked red.
That was a Superman film.
But he had a Red Hood.
That don't count.
Yeah. He's like real Red Hood or nothing.
Yes, Jason Todd.
Yes. But in this case, you look at something like this and you got to question I bring up a lot of questions here. How much carte blanche access are they going to give him? How dark is he allowed to go? Is he allowed to go Peacemaker level with a lot of this stuff? And you know what? Answer those two questions. I do have another one I want to throw at you, but you guys go with that first. How much rope do you think they're going to give him? Or how much space do you think they're going to give him?
I think they're going to give him enough so, he can basically draw an audience and basically make a good product and an entertaining product besides just... I think they're going to make this the James Gunn show, a James Gunn DC product.
I don't see them letting him go that crazy because, while James Gunn has had current success, it's not like he's a Spielberg where like everything he's touched has been gold. You could look at something like Slither and be like, oh yeah, that's a fun horror film. And then other people would be like, what the hell is that with the slugs? It's like, I think just for the time being, they're going to have him probably plot out where the DC universe goes from here. Because as of right now, while we do have like a Joker sequel coming out and we still have Aquaman coming out, there isn't exactly like a through line. They don't have things pre-planned like the MCU does. They're pretty much flying off the seat of their pants, especially when they're canceling movies and then sending stuff that's supposed to be just HBO Max into theaters now, giving it more of a boost. So James Gunn's going to have to be, him and Saffron both are going to have to like work together and figure out, okay, what's our 5-year plan at least?
But what I think was interesting, DC, I'm sorry, unlike MCU, this is, each one can kind of be its own entity. So you said about Joker, coming out. That's Todd Phillips, granted, but it is not in the same universe as all of the Suicide Squad and things like that.
Correct.
The animation stuff with the MCU, it's all in the same world, which kind of I think limits a little bit what you're able to do because you all have to have it tied together in some small way when possible. With this,
that's because it's all Kevin Feige's vision.
Yeah, he can have his own thing.
Split between two people.
Have his own thing. They can do their thing and not have it connect with the other, but still be DC. And I think it gives the producers, the directors, and the artists a little more flexibility and a little more wiggle room to be able to do things as they want to because they're not tied into a greater umbrella.
Well, I'm not saying there has to be a connectivity like there is in the MCU, but they have to have an idea about where they want the cinema to go and where they want television to go and even where they want animation to go, which animation, some people have said,
that's a big one
critically, is their best stuff. Mm-hmm. So it becomes a question of what do we do here on out? Because we've already seen lots of plans and lots of things that we thought were going to either stick around in the DC and zeitgeist get canceled or not even see the light of day. The Arrowverse is gone. Batgirl didn't even see any cinema time. Didn't even be put on HBO Max. They just canceled the Zatanna movie. They're restructuring everything DC, and it needs to be done.
Now I will interject with that. Now with the animation, I know they're still throwing stuff in. So I think the animation is safe because that's really their huge draw. But when it comes to the live action stuff, right now, we're gonna have to bring this up also. Black Adam.
Mm-hmm.
I sent you the link. How much did it make?
Yeah, like
It made
it was the highest
64 million
Rock
domestic.
opening weekend. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you were right on that. I stand corrected. I'm happy to be wrong. It did better than I expected it would.
And not to rubbing it or anything like that. It's just that I was bringing it up because a lot of people had doubts because the critics were just drawing negativity on the film. And I'm like, yo, I just saw it at the premiere and the movie was good. Long as it keeps your attention. Yes, it has a couple of hiccups, like if what the origin story and everything was a little
That damn kid.
A lot of people said that the kid and the mother was a little bit annoying, but overall, it wasn't like the actors did a hell of a job. The story wise, they did what they could, but the thing about it, it was still entertaining. It wasn't like, oh, I drank a couple of drinks and I fell asleep, or I fell asleep without drinking a couple of drinks. This movie was entertaining.
You feel the character was bastardized,
right? And he played the character true. Mm-hmm. That's why I always tell people, never go by critics, go see the movie for yourself. And
except when we critique things, then definitely listen.
Exactly. Yeah, listen to our critique, not the other critiques.
Yeah, not the critics, please. The critics,
not the people that get paid to criticize, just the fans that speak their minds without
that want to get paid to criticize.
Yeah.
Now, here's my question on this. In this case, you look at the Mortal Kombat DC connection that exists there. Do you see him possibly doing any kind of stuff in the Mortal Kombat realm?
Well, it's not DC. Mortal Kombat is.
But they did have. Remember, they did have a game
called Mortal Kombat versus DC. Yeah. Could they bring it back? I hope.
Could they? I mean, the biggest problem that a lot of people had with that is the fact that it was too PG related, because you can't have like Superman just like uppercut somebody's head straight off. So you had heroic brutalities. But in this case, I almost wonder if Boone and Tobias were to work alongside Gunn and Saffron and come up with a crossover of some kind, maybe Peacemaker versus and something like that, where you could have a character like Peacemaker, fighting Scorpion. And just be like, okay, go nuts. What's that?
Now, what they could do is, and they could do the Injustice route and just add Injustice 3, once it comes out, we'll do a surprise ending. Sorry if it's not a spoiler, it's just a solution or a hope. And then we get a cameo appearance of a Mortal Kombat character coming in Injustice, like maybe a Scorpion top of something, get over here, and that's the end. And you're like, what the hell is this gonna be? Yep. And then it might be like Mortal Kombat versus DC.
And I think it's going to be possible. Like I said, it would require certain things, like I said, Mortal Kombat versus Suicide Squad.
No,
I would say it's possible.
No, it's possible.
No. Knowing James Gunn and his work well enough, I don't think that's necessarily what he would be doing. I could see him going for more of the weird and wild of DC. Really getting out those characters that maybe we haven't seen as much of, that would probably play well in whatever universe he wants to construct. Yes, you lay on the heavy hitters. You retool Wonder Woman. You bring back Superman for his sequel finally. Batman, do whatever you want with Batman. I don't care. Batman's like almost Teflon at this point. But I think that I would like to see some of the more random stuff that you can get with DC properties. Look, they also have Vertigo Comics under their label. Right. I would love to see a Wildcats. I would love to see Grifter get some live action treatment finally. They've done enough in the comics where they've actually incorporated some of those characters into Gotham and Metropolis and stuff like that. Why not get that on the screen? Why not use some of this untapped potential that these artists have gone ahead and put their work into and give it the treatment that it's rightfully deserved?
Well, we haven't had Wildcats, I guess, in animation form for about 30 years now.
Right.
Not since like
Not since the
1995 or
90s.
so, right?
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
because there was only one season on CBS.
wait.
And because I had already had my VCR at that point. And they ran the opposite X-Men, which was just toast because it's like season 3 or season 4 of X-Men.
Right.
Mhm.
And there's no way Wildcats is going to be able to compete with that.
Wait, here's another thing. James Gunn, Static Shock.
Well, they've already talked about doing Static. That's been in the works already. Now, whether or not it's going to be a solo film or maybe they do like a Runaways thing, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But
Static Shock.
Static's already been discussed.
James Gunn.
Yes, I could 100% see Static.
But Red Hood, I think we're going to get either Under the Red Hood live action, or we're going to get the whatchamacallit, Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Well, the only animation I can remember from Red Hood was not well received. I forgot who did that one. That wasn't Paul Dini, was it?
Yeah, Under the Red Hood probably would have been Dini. Anything Batman animated almost is Paul Dini.
No, Under the Red Hood was well received.
Yeah, I mean, Batman and Harley Quinn, that's a little bit of a different story. But
yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. What am I thinking of then? Killing Joke. Maybe I'm getting the ratings confused between that and Killing Joke.
Killing Joke was because it was like
that. I thought for some reason I thought
Red
Red Hood
on Killing Joke because Batgirl and Batman hooked up. All right, let's just call us
that. Yeah, that was weird, bro. Like, think about it. Like,
that's not that weird when really you think about it.
She was in high school.
No, she wasn't. She was in college.
No,
she was in college.
She was in college.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad.
It was also addressed in Batman Beyond. When
they did it first.
When Barbara was talking to Terry, it's like, you guys are partners. More than partners? Oh. It was just like, oh. And you really got the impression that basically, they were involved both in and out of the Cape.
That was so messed up, especially for I can say his name, Dick Grayson. Like, really?
Dick Grayson hooked up with Harley Quinn. All right, I don't want to hear about it.
He also hooked up with a 7-foot-tall orange alien, though.
Please,
wait,
Batman his rings all over the place.
No,
right?
no, that's different.
Don't act like Batman was monogamous with just Catwoman or Talia. He wasn't.
Yeah, but hooking up with an orange 7-foot alien is different, bro. It wasn't like Batman was dating her.
No, hey, he's got an open mind.
Yeah. By the way,
don't act like you wouldn't.
Interestingly enough, basically, I'm looking at the IMDb credits for Under Red Hood. Dick Grayson was voiced by Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
Which I find interesting. And then also, the character of Black Mask was voiced by an actor named Wade Williams.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, no. Wade Williams, he does a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Always confused
John
with
DiMaggio. John DiMaggio was the Joker, which I do remember he did the Joker in a few things.
Anyway, veering way off topic.
We are? Sorry.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
So, yes. Look, whatever direction they decide to go, certainly.
We're still talking about DC.
You know what it is? I think he wants to move on to horror. I think he's ready for that now.
Oh,
I think the only thing we can say for sure at this point is that this is kind of like Triple H taking over WWE, all right? Mm-hmm. This is creative control going in a completely new direction, and all we can do is wait and see what actually comes from it. There's already enough in the slate that they still have to put out. Whatever comes after that should be very interesting.
So, all right. So,
yeah.
Stop it.
Hashtag Davion for Red Hood. Make it happen. All right. So, Ryan, I know this was your big thing. I know you have been doing proper amounts of homework on this, by the way, to properly prepare for the show. I appreciate the sacrifice. Sir, go for it.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Homework? Like, what do you mean homework?
Do you want me to help you?
You were talking horror films.
Yeah, I thought that's what we were going with.
We're a week away from
Halloween. We have to talk horror. We
Yes.
have our own charity thing where we're going to be scaring you of all people. Yes,
Yes,
we have to
you're
talk
right.
Yes,
horror.
they're going
I
to be
know you
scaring
don't
me
like
big
horror.
time. Oh yeah,
Got to be done.
I pick one film and he got to watch it. It's in the middle.
yes,
Evil
you
Dead.
do.
Yes, all right. Yes, you have it. Even though it's the remake, but the remake probably is probably a better pick to actually scare people than say the first one.
Yeah.
Although that is prime Raimi.
Yeah. But in this case, yeah, our charity event on Saturday, which we've already raised money for, by the way. Respect to that. I appreciate the donations that have already come in.
Awesome.
You know what? Actually, I'll do it that way. Yeah, the Hellraiser.
Yeah, actually, don't
fundraiser.
we already have that set up now? If people want to do early donations,
Yes, they can. There's a rally up link on that too. So,
And remember, audience, he will cosplay. If we get to 1,000, he will cosplay your favorite.
we're not that
whatever.
yet either. So,
Huh?
we're not that far off yet either.
give it time. Give it time.
No, give it time.
Yeah. So right now, it'll be interesting to see basically what I may have to actually dress up as. But yeah, the Hellraiser fundraiser this kind of Saturday. The link is down at the bottom. go.rallyup.com/Hellraiser fundraiser.
Yeah, rally up. Yes.
Yeah,
Never heard of that before,
rallyup.com.
but
You
good
can
for
donate
them.
directly. You can pick the kind of tortures that we have during this, not just the tortures that we're watching this thing, but also the tortures that we have to do, which involves temporary tattoos of both clean and questionable choices. Nothing political, nothing hate speech, of course, but
No Yeezy stuff.
hot chips.
I don't even want to
basically.
talk about them.
Hot chips, food that we hate. In my case, it's going to be mushrooms. Ryan, I don't know actually what yours was. I need to find that out.
No. I'm not one getting scared. I don't know why you put me on here as someone who's getting scared. I don't get scared. This is not for me. It's for you
You're just
three
I got
men,
this.
you, JD, and Obi, who don't like horror. I like horror. What is
Okay,
the point of people?
look at the dumb face down right, the bottom left there. That will be me on my best moment.
Yes, you have the accurate face. Obi, I don't know what Obi's doing, looking like a
the problem is you guys never sent
and
me the
then
vector.
JD looking like the happiest clown there. It's like, what's going on?
Y'all never sent me the vector, but anyway, the images of yourself pooping yourself.
No, what my part is going to be in this charity fundraiser is pretty much just mitigating all the comments and donations and whatever for the first movie, which is going to be the original Hellraiser. Which, by the way, I probably should mention this right now. If anybody wants to go ahead and watch along the movies with us, just know there are 3 different viewing options for the movies, so that this way you can watch it relatively for free. Hellraiser is available on Amazon Prime, so we'll be going there for that. Evil Dead 2013 is available for free to Hulu members, so maybe make sure you sign up for your Hulu. And Sinister is available for free on Peacock. Don't have to sign up and get the plan for that. It's completely free just with starting up your viewership name. So go to those 3. If you're not already signed up for them, sign up now so this way you can watch all 3 of them with us.
Yes, and make fun of people like me who freak out and lose their minds because the horror industry loves cowards like me. So
yes, and I will be facilitating that first movie because then I have to go scare people myself.
And I don't easily get scared.
Well, okay, hold on. So if I'm taking care of the first movie, Day, are you going to be around for Evil Dead since that was your suggestion?
I won't be.
He's not. No, it's going to be. It's going to be me.
I'm sorry. What convention is he going to this time without me?
No, I'm doing a Halloween masquerade.
He's doing Linoleum Con. It's a charity event dedicated to it's a home show dedicated to purely linoleum.
I could see that.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. That's next weekend. This weekend is the Bob Ross cosplay convention, right? We're all going to be dressed up as Bob Ross.
Deadpool Bob Ross.
Time he's had hair on that
Deadpool Bob Ross. Deadpool Bob Ross.
But so anyway, yeah, that's basically this Saturday, just 5 days away. We've already raised money
3
for
p.m.
it.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, Eastern Standard Time. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Rye, go for it, sir. Let's talk some horror. Let's talk some scary movies, possibly movies that you may have seen.
Well, hey, let me pose the question to you first. Now, obviously, Scott, you don't like horror whatsoever. Fine.
Exactly.
On that. So, You have watched some though, have you not?
Oh yes, very much so.
Okay. So what would you categorize as the favorite horror movie that you have watched?
Favorite or scariest?
Your pick.
Scariest.
All
Well,
right.
no, for all we know, everything might be scary to him, but I want to know what his favorite was to actually view and enjoy.
The Ring. I never
The
saw the
Ring.
Japanese one, but the American one with Naomi Watts. That did not scare me one iota. I watched that entire thing all the way through, and I remember thinking to myself, that's how that ties together. I remember basically all the little things that tied into the independent film. I'm like, dude, that was so cool. I was the only one in that theater that was not pissing himself. You know, because there was just something about it which didn't bother me at all. But I was like, dude, okay, that's why that tied together. That's pretty cool. Final Destination, on the other hand, that one crushed me. I'm not
Which
going to.
one? The first one or the last one?
I
The
only
Devon
ever saw
Sawa one?
I never saw anything but the first one. I am ashamed to say, I'm going to say this on air to further
He
shame
doesn't know
myself.
about the logs.
I had my eyes closed for part of it.
Oh wow!
Wait,
And I
which
was
part of
especially
it
the
would you have had your
bus
eyes
scene?
closed?
I was like, what?
Especially the bus scene.
No, the bus scene. No, the bus scene was too quick. But that one where the knives fell on the lady in the kitchen, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was just like, I couldn't help it. I remember being embarrassed to myself, knowing the fact that I had to do that. And I don't know, but when it came out, what year did it come out in theaters? Do you remember?
Wow, the first one?
Final
That must have been
Destination.
like early 2000s.
I was going to say it's around 2000, maybe 2002. 2000 itself. So I was 24 or 25 years old at the time.
2000 itself, yeah. Devon Sawa, Ali Lauder,
Yeah.
like a real who's who of like.
Oh, that's right.
early pop
Stifler
shit.
was in that. I forgot.
Yeah, you're gonna die, man. You're next.
John William Scott. I felt bad when he died.
Yeah, Stifler.
That was a tough death.
How's that was a tough death?
I don't remember that death.
Because it was one that you really didn't see coming until like that little piece of metal
You
was like
knew
on the
something
train
was
tracks.
going to happen because he kept. You heard the music, you heard everything, and he was instigating the whole situation. Like, dude, you're next. You're.
Yep.
Yeah, just right through the neck. Just
It's the problem with it is I do not do well with entrapment movies where there's no way out. The worst nightmares I have in the middle of the night are ones where I'm trapped and I can't get out.
Oh,
we
So
should have
Final
picked
Destination,
Saw.
the Grim Reaper is finishing the job, so there's no way out. That's the
Instead of Sinister,
hardest.
we
part.
should have picked Saw. That would have been.
Oh
good.
Yeah, we
God,
should have
no.
picked-
Dude,
Yeah.
no.
yes.
I no.
Which one?
That would probably any of the Saw movies would probably be too much for me to handle. I'm being dead serious here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my butt's going numb literally as I think about some of the ways trying to get out. You know, I can feel like numbness.
See,
in
we
my
have a
legs right
Saw
now.
section at the Hayride in Staten Island. You need to come through, Scott. So either Friday
you're
or
not-
Sunday,
you're not
because I know
selling me on
Saturday
this.
you'll be
I gotta
busy.
tell you, I'm sorry, you're not selling me too good on this. It's like you need to go and scare yourself shitless. Go and pay money to do so.
I'll be on the ride with you. I'll make sure you're safe.
Oh, you're gonna hold my hand to make sure I'm safe?
I want to hold your hand, no, but I'll make sure you're safe.
Okay.
But
Nah,
that
he
is,
won't make
that
sure
is
I'm
kind of
safe.
surprising because I mean, I can't say that there's too many horror movies where it's really about like entrapment. You know, it's like
No, there's a
I mean,
lot.
well,
of
I mean, there are some, but I wouldn't say that like the most notable. Usually, it's more about like something coming after you, not like you necessarily just being getting like out of an area per se.
Oh, perfect. I know a couple of movies like that.
Well, I mean, you have stuff like what
As above or so beneath.
As Above, So Below.
So below, I mean.
Mhm.
Right.
You
But
got
that was only about like escaping at like the last minute. Otherwise, it was a journey downward because they were greedy and they
but
were
it's
looking for gold.
still confined. You're going to somewhere where you're confining yourself, entrapping yourself, and then
Right.
trying to find ways out. So technically, it still count. What
Only
other
at the
film?
second half of it. You know, if you're talking about like a real entrapment movie, you gotta look at something like The Descent.
Mhm.
That's entrapment.
Yeah.
That's like you don't know where you're going, you don't know what's in the shadows. All your friends are being taken away. You don't know what's happening. You're the only one to get out. That's
And what was? It was another film where it was like a whole bunch of people. Is it? And they it was like I forgot the name of the film. It's like a group of people around the circle, and it was like an alien abduction type setup, and they all had to play this game of choosing who dies.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that on Netflix.
Oh, I forgot the name of it.
What was it? Circle or something like
Yes, The circle.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, you had to
And
pick out like which one was like the real alien or which
no,
one
no,
was
no.
like
It wasn't that. It was like all about survival. They just selected people randomly, and
that
then
was
it gets
evil.
deeper to the point where people start picking people of certain ethnic groups. It was like
It was
it
like
was
almost a battle royale sort of movie.
correct.
Mhm.
Just it's just like as a game where you're just standing there just selecting. And then it's another horror film called The Cell
I
where
know so.
you're. How was
That,
your opinion?
that was the
What's
J
your
Lo movie. I remember. I don't
Well, wait, are we
remember.
talking about the cell with Jennifer Lopez and
nah
Vincent D'Onofrio?
nah? It's a one where it's like a cubics type
Well,
thing
no,
where
then you're talking Cube.
cube. I meant sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, the cell is a whole other movie. That's like some weirdo stuff with
Yeah,
D'Onofrio.
That was
yeah,
that
the
was
cube.
D'Onofrio was the baddie on that.
Yeah, he was the D'Onofrio in Cell. He was the criminal that she had to go into his like mind because he was the
Yep.
killer and all
I
that.
didn't realize that was D'Onofrio. I mean, it was J Lo, and who was the guy? Who was the main cop guy in that? I want to say like Ray Liotta or something.
Hold on, no, really, no. It wasn't. Well, no, it might have been Ray Liotta. God dang it! This is why you should just always have IMDb up at the whole. No, Vince Vaughn. Vince
Vince,
Vaughn.
that's right. Okay, yes. Yeah,
Oh,
that
and
was
then you got
D'Onofrio.
Hannibal.
Hannibal was okay. I mean, I didn't. Here's the thing: Hannibal was the biggest problem I think with Hannibal was the fact that they,
Okay.
because in the original ending to the book, him and Clarice run off together, and
Ooh.
they just escape together. So they changed the ending a little bit, which I know pissed off a lot of fans that way.
Yeah.
But the Ray Liotta brain scene,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'd necessarily call that horror. That's just more like unnerving.
12 levels of gross out. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no, it certainly grossed the appeal, but I wouldn't call it a horror because it's more suspenseful.
Well,
It's more about mystery. That ends Silence of the Lambs. It's more about like the procedure, the mind game of it. And horror to
And then they
me,
just milk that tea to oblivion.
no, but horror to
Right.
me has to be like one part suspense, one part just getting to your fears, and one part using the cinema as
Mhm.
like a scaring device in itself. There's got to be jump scares. There's got to be gory imagery. There's got to be things that will unnerve you to the point where you look away, but then makes you still want to look at it a little bit more. Like, okay, one of my favorite horror films, if I had to pick one, which is hard for me, it would be Nightmare on Elm Street 3: The Dream Warriors.
Okay.
okay.
And that's really where it became like, yeah, okay, you had this scary guy with knives on his hands coming after you. But that's where you really got into like more of like the creativity of what Freddy Krueger could do, because the dreams were a lot more elaborate, the conflict was a little bit more active, and thus the deaths had to be a little bit more gory. When you're a kid and you're watching television and then all of a sudden you see someone get impaled into a television, it can unnerve you a little bit. And
Mhm.
dude, the thing with the nurse, dude, that stunted my puberty for a little bit. At first you're like, oh, she's attractive, and then it's like, oh my god, her tongues are like keeping me to the bed, and there's a flaming hell pit. It's a bit much.
Uh,
I'm
I
just
remember
looking at. Go ahead.
Well,
for
yeah,
me,
Dave, we haven't really gone to you yet as
we
far
haven't.
as
You
like
know what? We
favorite.
should. Day, go with you, man.
Yeah, do you have a favorite?
We'll wait.
So I'm one of those people that if I enjoy watching a horror film, I really can't pick a favorite. It's just that certain films that I gravitate and will actually watch the series. I would say the Final Destination and Saw series.
Hmm.
Those are my favorite, but they're not really entrapment or consider like they consider horror, but in a different element of
Here's
horror.
the thing: if we do, sorry. Please.
But if I really want to talk about horror icon wise, like someone I could say, oh snap, I would say I'm a huge fan of Ghostface. Scream. Scream. Of course, I've got my respects for Jason and Freddy and all them, but it's something about human psychological killers that disguise themselves and then at the end they're like, "Hi, it's me," because it's somebody you least expected that basically is doing the killing.
Well, Scream is really an interesting one because that's one of those ones where I'd say really almost borders on horror comedy. Because there was
Well,
definitely like enough goofs and gaffes and like kind of like behind the scenes
It,
meta about like horror movies in itself,
it
where
was the
it's like,
first movie to make fun of horror films while simultaneously being a horror film.
yeah,
right,
yeah. I mean, sure, it spawned its own line of comedies with the Scary Movie franchise, but I'd say Scream in itself, it was one of the ones that was really done smart. Like up until that point, horror comedies were things like Once Bitten or Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and there's something to that camp,
right.
but it's almost the kind of thing where it's like you can't really get lost in it. It's like
Not
the
with the Jim
jokes are
Carrey
almost
horror
too
film from
much.
the 80s.
I mean, I'm sorry. When I'm seeing like a bunch of people get eaten by the shadow puppet of a Tyrannosaurus Rex,
Yeah.
you kind of take me out of the horror aspect a bit. I
Okay,
love it,
oh,
but no.
but question: there's a movie called Overlord. I remember seeing this film.
Heard of it.
It was good. It's just to me, it was like, okay.
What was that, like a zombie one where it was like during World War One or World War Two?
Yeah,
Okay,
Hmm.
I
it was.
keep seeing it on the streaming channels. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, to me, it was like it was good, but it was like maybe for a one watch. To me, it was like okay. Now I will say like 13 Ghosts was good. I love
Ooh,
that was a good
okay.
one.
Now you're
That was
hitting my
a good one.
nostalgia bean right there. That's
That was good. Like okay, now I see Scott's face like
that was one
swallow
of those
up.
ones where it's like that was on repeat, man. The ghost in
Yeah,
those things, the jackal alone is just an iconic looking character.
right.
Speaking of ghosts, though, what about the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo?
It's a cartoon.
Really, Scott?
It had Vincent Price in it.
All right, and I was.
Here's
Go
what I
ahead.
will say. Here's what I will say. Growing up, the Boy Scout camp that I used to go to as a kid was where they filmed Camp Crystal Lake in the first two Friday the 13th
Right,
movies.
right.
So I
Which
used
is
to
Jersey, yes.
sleep in, Noby Bosco in West Jersey and Blairstown. I used to sleep in a lot of the camp spots where people were murdered. And it always had this really weird sense to it every time you went there, especially on a Friday night when you went up there and it turned out to be the Friday the 13th. It was the date you went up, which happened a few times. It had this creepy underlying vibe, and the older kids knew it. And so when you got the young little 12-year-old kid who knows that Friday the 13th was filmed in the very place where the older kids are doing the responsible thing and scaring the living crap out of the young kids. Yeah, that was a less than enjoyable experience, especially when one of the scoutmasters is using a chainsaw outside and cutting down trees and basically making firewood with.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh
Nice.
yeah, it was great. That's probably about where I stopped watching horror films.
Shoot, the funniest thing is when I went to church and we had that camp moment, and they so-called try to scare the young kids,
Jeez, yeah, okay.
and you're like, I wasn't. It wasn't easy scaring me, so it was like my pastor had a hard time scaring me, but he scared all the other kids, and I'm like, I know who this is, and I was like, I know who that is. Stop, you're not scaring me. They're like, yo, you're not scared. I'm like, I watch a lot of horror films. Stop.
You'd think that basically a pastor in a church would not really be good at scaring people that way, because their entire MO is you're going to hell and Satan's going to set you on fire. And they're like, okay, fine, but props. I mean, you don't usually think about pastors being good at scaring kids, with a horror motif.
Yeah.
Dig it. I'm digging it.
But he did a good job scaring the kids. Me, it was just like, why are you not scared? I've seen enough horror movies, especially Jason and Michael Myers, to be like, look, if I hear noises, I'm like, okay, I'm walking that way. If I'm being followed, I'm like, look, I know how to basically jump in the water and wait in the water. Hold my breath.
I'm going to hate myself for what I'm going to say here.
Well,
do it.
But if we do Hellraiser Fundraiser 2, I would consider Saw for that.
Yes. Yes.
I
mean, that's enough to intrigue me to want to do it again already. We haven't even done the first one.
I mean, I know it's a full year out. We're going to be in Arizona for the week prior, but
you see this face? I was
hang on, Day. Let's do this right here. Let's do this right. So I would consider doing. There it is.
I was scared the bejesus out of you. I will pick the scariest Saw film. Oh my god!
Is it gonna be the one with Mark Wahlberg?
I can't tell if he's getting a French tickler or he's just in the bathroom after too many wings. I can't.
All I'm going to say is I'm happy he's not standing up right now because basically his level of excitement, I don't want to see what's happening down below at the moment.
Well, yeah, we've already seen his butt once before on this show. We don't need to see more.
Exactly. Let's keep this chest level up if you don't mind.
Let's keep it PG. Let's keep it PG.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Yeah, but if you see his camera move a little bit, I'm sure that's something tapping it up.
Yeah,
my bad. I'm sorry.
I've already seen enough, ironically enough, junk in the last week anyway. But it's I would consider that. I'll take the hit for a charity. I'm not against doing something like that. This one I would consider it, and I'm already. I can feel like the numbness in my legs, knowing that there's scenes where they cut their own legs off. I can feel it physically in my legs right now.
Yo.
Well, okay. Well, let me ask you, Scott. Let me ask you.
All right.
Aside from the entrapment movie stuff, do you prefer new horror or old horror?
Or do it
old horror being like, say, things from like the 70s up till like, say, 96, 97. Ooh. And then new horror being anything from that time on to now.
I want to say new horror because with old horror, you know how it ends. Basically, it's been spoiled plenty all the way through at this point. So it loses a little bit to me, I think, when you know who lives and who dies.
I got the perfect movie for old horror, bro. I got the perfect movie.
Go ahead.
God, like what Ritalin is he on today?
I know, really.
It's this old film where
you never remember the name of it. I thought he's gonna know.
I know the name.
I'll probably know the name of it if he describes it.
Okay. Group of kids go into an abandoned house and one of them get possessed by a demon, and then every time they kill one another, they become a demon.
So Night of the Demons.
Yep.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Which they did make a remake in.
We're not going to do the remake. We're going to watch the original.
All right, fine. Linnea Quigley over Shannon Elizabeth, fine. But I obviously have my preferences just based upon visuals.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I got to give a shout out. I don't know if they ever did this one or not, but in 1989, Capcom did a horror NES game that never made it to the US called Sweet Home. And I went through that game on the English translation of it as a ROM because it was never released here. Dude, that was scary. I was really. You don't think of NES as being scary, but some of the jump scares that were done in this game, the plot lines on this, the very macabre aspect of it, dealing with murder, suicide, and everything was involved. Plus, also the characters that are in there only get one life and there's very few heals. So you lose a character, they're gone, and your entire ending is determined based on how many characters survive getting out of the house.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah, it was really, really creepy. So in this case, it's not like an RPG where you can just sit there, reset, and do it again. No, this one saves your progress all the way through. And if you lose a character, TS, you're out of luck.
Okay, now another film, which is going to be the remake. I would say we should also give him It 2, Chapter 2.
No. Chapter 2 was by far less.
No, I think Chapter 2 was scarier than the first one. First one wasn't that scary.
I saw the original one with Tim Curry. I never saw the remake.
No, I'm not saying no. I'm saying part 1 of the remake was scarier than part 2.
You sure?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Dude, it's not the same when it's being done to like grown-ups and everything, especially when you already know what their fears are. But with the kids and everything, you felt that fear. You felt it when that painting came alive. You felt it when that gnarly, gross thing just like flamed up on the kid. You felt it when that thing came out of the refrigerator. With the grown-ups, it's
How about the Blob?
Which Blob?
Not The one that was shown on HBO constantly.
So that would be the '80s remake with
Yeah.
Dylan. I think
Yeah.
Kevin Dillon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was definitely one of the Dylans.
Did
That
you see
one
that
messed
one?
me up because I would watch that on Channel 11 when they had like movies back
Yeah.
before
You saw
Warner
that
Brothers owned
before
it.
on Scott?
No, I never saw that one.
Dude, there's a scene where it's like these two kids are like making out in the car, and obviously the Blob already has taken possession of this woman, and she just is like sitting there, and he's like under the blouse and everything, and all of a sudden the Blob like shoots out from the blob from the boobs and like attacks him.
Yeah.
That kept me away from girls for a minute, man. I was like, nope.
No.
Nope.
The ooze starts coming out of her eyes. It's like, no, girls are icky.
They are. Ew. All right. So just to clarify, just to let you know,
Okay.
just now I put it up on Twitter, which was the scarier of the two It films. So I just threw it out as a quick, 2-hour poll, see what ends up happening. I'll see if we get any votes on that between now and the end of the show, just to see where it stands.
Right,
Okay.
but I would say probably we might be better off with like newer horror if we were ever to do it again. Because I do believe, yeah, newer horror has the idea of like circumventing a lot of the tropes. They'll do
Mhm.
endings where there's a little more of a twist. I don't know if that was because of M. Night Shyamalan or what, but you get a lot more twists and turns, and things aren't necessarily as expected as they
Mhm.
were back in like the 80s and 90s. You know,
Yeah.
like look at movies like Get Out or Us or
Mhm.
It Follows or Hereditary, The Conjuring, Cabin in the Woods was definitely a swerve. You know, there was a swerve just from the get go. I
Matter of
think
fact,
we have what?
go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
I just think if we're going to go ahead and do it again, we have to make sure that it's things that Scott definitely has never seen before, that the other gentlemen have definitely not seen before,
Right.
and things that may seem predictable but will surprise them, because then at least we're also giving an appreciation to the horror movies and the people that craft them, because we know enough people just from indie film who
Right.
do indie horror. Indie horror is like one of the easiest things to get into if you're passionate enough about it.
Right.
So I want to make sure that we're showing stuff that's going to be like, okay, that was very well crafted. I shat myself, but it was very well crafted.
I got a couple of honorable mentions.
What?
The Collector.
Okay. I preferred the collection over the collector, but
I
yes, the
do
collector
too.
was good.
Collector, then Collection.
Hmm.
The Strangers. And
Mhm.
The Strangers Pray at Night.
No, not the sequel. No,
You
that
ain't
was
like
a
the
that
sequel?
was a that was a dumb sequel. I saw that in theaters. I saw that because I was working in the theaters at the time.
Oh wow. Okay, so
No,
we're
but the
not gonna
first one I'll give you.
Okay.
Mm.
Is that all for your honorable mentions?
Children of the Corn. Scott, why you raised up like that?
Mm.
Children of the Corn is tricky.
Because it depends on which Children of the Corn.
No, not even that. I mean, I'm not saying anything about the sequels or anything. It's just Stephen King in itself is tricky. Because while Stephen King does play with the supernatural, he almost gets a little bit too weird for things. Like for every Pet Cemetery, there's
Langoliers.
Tommy Knockers.
I was saying
For
Langoliers.
every Carrie, there's a Langoliers. You know,
Right.
it's like some of those stories just aren't really as compelling as people think they are.
Well,
As a
here's
matter
the
of
thing.
fact, since we were talking about it, just real quick side note: if anyone watched The Simpsons this past Sunday, they did an entire episode. It wasn't the Treehouse of Horror; it was the Treehouse of Horror presents Not It, which was their comic version of the It movie. Both versions,
Yes,
teens and adults. And
about
oh my
that.
god, they knock on Stephen King like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, by the way, I was kind of surprised when I went on Hulu before and I saw the Simpsons version of It with Krusty the Clown splashed dead smack in the middle of my face, like right on my big screen TV. And I was like, well, I didn't expect that one coming out of nowhere.
Yep, and there's still a Treehouse of Horror coming up this Sunday too, so
Yeah.
it's like double for the year. I like it.
It's gone now. Now it's Stephen Carell with a beard.
Whoa.
Why?
Oh my God. Record.
Okay, I know what you're talking about, but
Oh God, that will be perfect for next
I
next
don't know. I
Halloween.
mean, the found footage stuff can come and go. I mean, for every paranormal
But
activity,
but that one is a classic, bro. That
recorded
one.
though, no, like
Either come on, you gotta watch that one.
no. I just want to see Scott watching Blair Witch Project in the dark by himself.
Nah, that wasn't scary.
That Blair Witch was absolutely scary. All right, that was
No, it
unnerving.
wasn't. If that was
You've
scary,
only
if
never
that
gone
was
camping.
scary,
But see, like I said, I know how it ends. So I mean, I saw clips of it on like HBO. So that probably wouldn't fly for me so much because.
but record definitely would.
But
I would see him doing record. You saw record, right?
excuse me.
I mean, I did. Obviously, he didn't.
Yeah, I didn't.
All right, so record.
All right.
All right. Basically, folks, if you have a horror movie that you would like us to do, and maybe Scott will do it again for the second Hellraiser fundraiser, which the original is coming up this Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have any suggestions, go ahead and throw those in. And maybe we will think about it doing one even before next Halloween.
We can do it.
Yeah.
I'm not against it.
But I think it is starting to become time for us to
We got to
go.
call
with
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, just to let you know, right now, It Part 2 is winning in the poll. So
What?
What? I told you.
I'm just saying. I put it out there. I was fair.
You
on
people never have a childhood.
that. You know. But anyway, we got to wrap this up. But thank you, Ryan. Thank you, D. Both of you suck because you're going to put me through this again. So yeah. So we got that going on.
yeah, okay, I can live with that.
You're like, it's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind. Being
hey.
called, saying I suck in return for watching him because he pissed himself. It's
I'm
okay.
good. I'm good.
37-year-old guy. He can handle it. But anyway, yeah, we got to wrap this up. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Like I said, one more time, we've got the Hellraiser fundraiser on youtube.com/streampunkcinema. So 3 p.m. Watch it. Donate. Money's going to a charity called From We Can't to We Can, which provides after-school programs for kids with special needs. And for every $30 donation, I have to eat a mushroom, by the way, which I really hate doing. Raise $1,000. We cosplay in an outfit of your choice. Day, I am well aware of your choices right now. Oh, anyway, have a good night. I'll just leave it at that. Take care, guys.
Man's got a sick